Well, it is coming to you today from Amy Tiemeyer for Helping the Brave. Ed Parcaut is taking a family day. So I'm thrilled to introduce um, our guest today, Stephen. So,
Hello.
hey, so you served in the Army, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
14
why
and a
did
half
you?
years.
Oh, wow, very good. Why did you choose the Army?
Oh, man. Probably because, okay, so I only joined the military because where I'm from, Galesburg, Illinois, that area, there was no jobs. Maytag had completely shut down or announced their shutdown. So I couldn't get a job. High school dropout. Couldn't even get a job at a donut shop to help make donuts. None of that. So I literally just decided to go take the ASVAB test, like, you know, try it out. Took it, passed, got 63, which is, I guess, pretty good. I thought I failed, but apparently that's pretty good. And it's like, well, the Air Force needs 65. Everybody else wants about the same. It's like, you know what? Let me just try the Army. My uncle was in the Army. So I just went. Army recruiter said, let's take you down. And I went, took the physical, got a bunch of job lists, and I chose Cavalry Scout. So really no rhyme to the reason why I did it. Just first come, first serve. I needed to get out of there. Otherwise, I would have been in prison or dead right now due to the drugs and no jobs, nothing like that. So
Well, that is similar story to my husband. He's from Forks, Washington. Just not a great job market at all. So, Cavalry Scout. Now, how did you like doing that in the Army?
well, I only picked it because okay, so we're all a little bit and from the older generation, I guess you can say that I'm 38. I guess I'm not old, but those old military videos that always showed the really cool stuff of a job. The dune buggies, the dirt bikes, snowmobiles, the Bradley, the Humvee. There's no dirt bikes, there's no snowmobiles, there's no Humvees, or excuse me, there's no dirt bikes, snowmobiles, stuff like dune buggies as a cavalry scout. So I chose that job based off that video only because it looked awesome. And I liked the job. Don't get me wrong, really tight knit group. We're better than the infantry, supposedly, even though that's all we did was infantry job. But I didn't want to be a tanker at the same time because, big gun go boom. That's about all a tanker knows. Just kidding. But I just wanted something different. It was fun. I met a lot of great people in that military occupational specialty. I stuck with it for years. Oh, did I freeze?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think it's working its way back.
Oh,
Can you hear us?
yeah, you're broken up.
Okay. Um, so where was your favorite place being stationed?
Let's see.
I'm gonna give him a second to get back in since his internet is obviously dropped. It's harder to be the only person here when somebody drops. It's easier when it's like two people here and then somebody drops. You can carry on a conversation. Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about that. Favorite place to be stationed. God, that's really tough, honestly. Every duty station I went to, because I went to Knox for training. Fort Riley was my first duty station. South Korea after that. Campbell after that. Recruiting after that out of Arizona. And then Fort Polk, Louisiana was my last duty station. From 2015 to 17. I found the best out of every installation I was ever at, whether it was the guys I was around, the community I was around, like Fort Polk, very family friendly. If you have kids, not much for a single person. South Korea, just great country, not during wartime, thankfully. So got to experience their culture, their food. Um,
Were you accompanied or unaccompanied in Korea?
Unaccompanied. I actually got divorced while I was in South Korea, which was the best decision of my life. Mm, but no, after I got divorced, I actually got to like really start venturing out and meeting new people, so it was a lot more fun. But yeah, duty station. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Like it was. I we all have our bad times. So I guess my worst duty station maybe or my best one was probably Fort Riley because that's where I really got the taste of the military. Um, and that is actually how I met my current wife, even though we didn't stay together. But we had met because my brother-in-law I was with him in Iraq 2003-4, roommates out of Fort Riley, and I'd come here and met his whole family. So initially that's how I met her. But we didn't stay together because we were both too young. So, but it's I can't really say one place was better than another, honestly.
That's all right. So, after you got out of the military, how was your transition out?
Well, you know, coming out with three kids, a pregnant wife, I moved straight up to Illinois out of Fort Polk. I was medically retired. I knew I was getting 90%, so I was going to get some money anyways, but I couldn't sit on my butt and rely on that money alone. Um, I walked out, what was it, May 7th, 2017 from the military. I retired out. May 11th, I walked out of the DMV from Illinois with my CDL. It was very quick. I had to hit the ground running. Like I said, three kids, pregnant wife, no time to relax, no time to really collect my thoughts. So instantly just jumped right into driving a semi locally, thankfully. It was stressful though, because it's like, the medical's different. You got to I have TRICARE course for the kids, but then that's a whole nightmare. As a lot of people already know, that can be a nightmare on its own. My own appointments I'd attend to. Um, you work more outside than you do in the military. A lot of people don't understand that is, all these 4-day weekends you get, like what is it, 11 or 12 federal holidays, 2 weeks off for Christmas, all this time off in the military, you don't get that on the outside unless you work a federal job.
Right.
Um, I work more now, 12 to 15 hour days, or I was 12 to 15 hour days. And in the military, like General Campbell was my last commander out of Fort Campbell. If he wanted a 4-day weekend, we all got a 4-day weekend. So just because he didn't want to work, that's the military. I mean, coming out, man, I kind of miss the military in that aspect right there. Just the amount of time off and everything you get, actually the family time. So, and that's one thing I neglected is my family coming out, just work, 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 and so it's wasn't rough transitioning out, but it's been a lot more stress, a lot more time consuming, and less less freedom to do what I want. I guess you can say, which I thought was the exact opposite.
So, have you reached out to any services since you've gotten out, or programs like Wounded Warrior Project, or the the Mission Continues, or the Travis Manion Foundation? Have you done any?
No, and in all honesty, I'm finding out about a lot of these programs. I wish I would have known about them sooner. I've only been in this realm for about a year now, doing what I've been doing, and I'm finding all these awesome people like yourself out here. Um, when I first got out, there was nothing really there to, hey, call these people, or here's all these people. Here's, if you have trouble, just call the VA. I don't know about you, but I know most people don't like dealing with the VA, therapy, stuff like that. And I know this is becoming a hot issue lately when dealing with therapy is you'll talk to one person for 6 months to a year and turn around, they leave. Not their fault. They leave. I mean, they got to move to with their spouse or whatever happens. So I've kind of I pushed off all these programs for the longest time and just like whatever. I didn't want to be part of that community. I wanted to kind of more or less forget the, I'm proud of my service, but I kind of wanted to kind of forget some of the things I've done in the military. And a lot of these people just keep bringing up a lot of the old stuff that I'm trying to stay away from. So to a point. So I'm learning about them, and I wish I would have known, but that's on me though. But I am definitely more getting more engaged now today.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'd also say for your family, there's so up here in the state of Washington, I work with Gold Star camps, Wounded Warrior
Mm,
camps, National Guard kid camps, all sorts of things. So your kids could benefit from some fun activities with kids who have like experiences, you
mm.
know, just as food for thought down the road. So so you got your CDL? Are you still driving? Is that your main source of income now?
No, I just gave all that up. I gave up truck driving. Um, Nobody lets me work as hard as I want to. I got in business with Trey Carmichael. Things are starting to take off over there, doing my podcast, public relations stuff. I mean, we're starting on our own, but it's starting to take off now. We got some partnerships we're working on with other veterans actually through the podcast somehow, which I never thought that would happen. Um, but no, I kind of taken a hiatus from everything for about a week now. It's been 7 days. Get clean, sober, get my head on straight because I was in a fog for the longest time and I wasn't doing right by anybody. So I've moved out here to the Navajo Nation where my wife's people are to get away from the alcohol, try to get things straight, dive into everything a little bit deeper, spend some time with my kids. Um, I got six of them, so I don't have that luxury of, one or two kids. I got to spread my time across six different ones. So, and my youngest being 2 years old, he generally demands the most. So, but
That's
no,
funny. Yeah,
no, we're taking some time off. I'm gonna do everything I can to stay out of that semi. So it's not, it's not. And I had a heart attack a little less than a year ago. So while I was in a semi, so I need to. My health is number one. So
absolutely. So if all the stars aligned, and your business just started, doing really well, you felt really good, you got your personal health aligned. Kind of what does that look like for you?
wow, nobody's ever actually. I never actually sat down and thought about it. I guess my biggest thing is just family time. Like set my office hours 8 to 4, 8 to 9 to 5, whatever. I have to, sometimes it'll be late meetings, whatever, late podcasts, due to whatever. But my goal is freedom for the kids, freedom to be with them. I'll do whatever I have to make that happen. I'm very driven and goal oriented, but I want freedom with my kids. I want to show my kids how to use the drill. I want to show my kids how to change a tire, how to check the oil, how to throw a ball, a football, baseball, whatever. Take them on trips. That's all I want in life. I don't want I don't want the $1 million. I don't want the 2 million. I don't want a million different companies underneath my belt. I don't want any of that. I just want freedom to spend time with my children. And if I don't have that, what am I doing this for? I mean, in all honesty. And being trapped in a 9 to 5 job, or not even 9 to 5, it was like midnight to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon job. I had no freedom. I was stuck in a rat race with nothing. So if all the stars align, I want to go to Florida with my kids. So I'm not going to California. Sorry, not doing it, people. So, but I want to go to Florida. I want to take my kids overseas somewhere. Go to Hawaii. Go to Italy, Germany. Take them to see something that I never got as a child. So that is my ultimate goal. Is just everything is for my children, nothing else.
I think
So
that's a good goal. That's a good goal. I will, if you don't mind, share a story, kind of brag on TMF a little bit. Last winter, my mom got hospitalized right at Christmas
mhm.
time, and the Travis Manion Foundation takes from Christmas Eve to New Year's to like the day after New Year's off. It's like a block leave in the military. It's the greatest thing ever. But when your family is in crisis, it's really cool to work for a company that it was shut down. So there was nobody. Like I got to be in the hospital with my mom and dad, working through what was going on. Now I will say, um, I could do stand up comedy on the civilian healthcare system, and I may or may not have done some stand up comedy about the experience. But I also think that, our families, they do mean the most to us. So if
Mhm.
I think it's important for you to figure out what success looks like, and I think having freedom with your family is incredibly important because when something like last December happened for me, it was priceless to work for a company that I got to just step away from and be there for my family. So I do wish that for everybody.
Yeah,
Like you
and
said, not the millions, but I mean, it would be nice for us all to be millionaires, but
it would. And I'm not looking for an astronomical amount of money. I'm just looking for enough, not really just to get by, a little extra, of course, but just enough that I can not spoil my kids, which my daughter is spoiled. Don't get me wrong. I got 5 boys, 1 girl, so she's spoiled. So don't, yeah, the girls are always spoiled. But just enough to provide a little bit more than what I ever had. And you know, and part of the reason why I'm doing this big change now too is her parents and my parents. My mother passed away last year, and then due to cancer, and then my stepmother, she'll pass away here soon. Could be weeks, could be a year, or less than a year. My dad not doing good. He just got a pacemaker. Then went turned around and had a heart attack afterwards. Um, her dad's having health heart problems. Her mom dementia and stuff like that already. And it's like they're only in their 60s. I'm
mhm.
only 22 years away from that. So, and all of them have pushed themselves through their life to provide, but we're stuck in a rat race. And it's like, man, what am I? I got 6 kids. Like, I'm not even going to see my grandkids at this point or be able to take care of them at this rate. So it's like, I don't have any grandkids. So let's not go there yet. But I will. I'm sure I will with 6 kids. Um, but it's like, why am I doing this? Like, and then, the drinking wasn't helping on top of it. So, but I can't believe the outpouring of support. I just posted a little something on Facebook, just something small, nothing big, and just the calls, the messages. It's like, oh, wow. So, and I normally don't, I'd never. It's different. It definitely changes a lot my perspective of a lot of people. So, and I'm happy now.
Well, good. I will also throw out. I don't know about when. Well, both in Arizona and Texas, there is MVP, which is merging vets and players, and that's where you work out for a half hour, and then there's a huddle. And
Hmm.
that has been really good because there's not a lot of spaces for combat veterans that are around physical fitness
Uh huh.
and actually sports. So they do a lot of things that you can bring your family to outside of the huddle.
What
Um,
what was that called? I want to write that
it's
down real quick.
merging vets and players.
Sorry, I'm writing this down
Oh
because
yeah, no. And I would also say the Travis Manion Foundation, which would be if you did things with the group down in Arizona, which is a great group. Um, uh, which I can do an email introduction to you for
yeah.
both the MVP group and also for the Travis Manion group, because I think TMF you could do things, and your kids might see it, and it would give you a new community because we had talked before we went live.
Hmm.
N- when we're going through recovery and different things like that, our communities are so important,
Yep.
and to find the right one that's building you up and helping you get to where you want to go, both for yourself and for your family.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
tell us. So I always ask what you left behind in the military that you'll never do again. When you walked out, you're like, never again. And then also, do you use something
Um,
today from the military that that you learned from being in the military?
Hmm. Okay. Wow. Some hard questions there. The only thing I left behind I don't use today from the military is running. Dear God, don't ever make me run again, please, because I will cry. That's the only thing I really left behind. The routine, all that stuff, the discipline, I've kept all that. Like ever since I've been out, even though it's been 6 years, I've kept all that. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know. Like that's the only thing I'd say I'd leave behind. I had so much fun in the military, and I know there's bad times, but I that's the only thing I left behind was just the running, and I I still kind of keep a structured life. I still kind of, kind of keep somewhat of a discipline in the household to a point, of course. Um, but I have to have my routine. I just after being in for 14 years, I got so indoctrinated, I guess you can say. It's breaking any habits is just kind of weird. So, and then same thing I do today, I did in. Hmm. Well, I guess I can say I'm also leaving behind the drinking. So, because that's military, that was when I was in was a big part of it was just drinking. Um, what did I take out that I still use today? I still like to play with guns.
Do you have a favorite?
My favorite actually is it's a AR-12, Panzer AR-12, and I got a 20 round drum that for attachment on it.
Which is
So,
why you
well,
won't go to California or Washington, huh?
I can't believe they let me buy that in Illinois too. Like a 20 round drum for a 12 gauge shotgun, and it looks just like an AR-15, just 12 gauge. So it's a lot of fun to shoot. But nah, and I still like to blow stuff up too, of course. So you gotta love my tannerite.
Right. So, what does your podcast cover?
My podcast mainly just covers career, why you join, your transition out, and the troubles you had along the way, and what if there's any lessons you can teach somebody or tell somebody about your struggles and how you turn a leaf over to start crushing it on the outside. Because most people I talk to, they are very successful or they're getting to that point to where they're about to be super successful. I think just by and also first responders. Also, I've had a few firefighters on that have started their own business. Majority of the vets have their own business or they're partnered in a very successful business. And it's just, how did you do it? What your transition out, life lesson while you were getting out. And it seems like it always comes back to the one thing that there was a lack of support when people were getting out. Um, I don't remember what year did you get out? I know we were talking before. We're
So,
gonna expose your age.
um, what year were you born? Uh,
84,
okay,
84.
I got out in 19 from the Army. I got out in 1993, and
Oh,
then I went in the Navy Reserves and got out of the Navy Reserves in 1998. But
okay, yeah, that's right. I remember now.
um, but Ed and I noticed that the transition services for higher enlisted and officers are very different than junior enlisted.
Hmm.
But the challenge I also feel with junior enlisted is they're not necessarily at that growth mindset. So even if
Hmm.
they're being fed different opportunities, they're not seeing it. They kind of go, oh, I got it. I have a plan. And they're not necessarily testing their plan, which I think is a challenge often when working with youth. Is you have an idea of what you believe or what your values are, but they haven't been tested, and you don't realize in theory is just in theory.
Well, they, I can't remember the name of the program now, ACASP or ACAP, whatever it's called, or whatever they call it today. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. They probably change it 50 million times for some officer to get a gold bullet. But you know how that works. Um, but they gave a false sense of hope in that program that hey, you're going to walk out, you're going to get a six-figure job right away. And what I tried to always tell my junior enlisted, I was in E7, and sad part is I didn't practice what I preached, unfortunately. But what I always told them was make yourself marketable while you're in, Go to every school you can, college, military school, doesn't matter. Everything you can go and do to make yourself marketable to the outside world. Network, find people, get to know people. Doesn't matter if personal level or just business level, just anybody. When I went through that program, they just said, go get a LinkedIn account. What do I do with it? Okay, I have a LinkedIn account. Well, awesome. What now? What? They didn't tell you anything to do with the LinkedIn account, and it's one of the best networking tools out there. Like, yeah, you're not gonna as a E3 or E4 coming out of the military with nothing. You're not gonna get a 6-figure job. You might have to go work at McDonald's for a little bit while you figure things out. Whatever, that's fine. But they give such a false sense of hope that you're gonna walk out with a great job, and it's just not there.
Well,
Um,
I also wonder kind of what you said, like you leave stressed. And we've heard this from a lot of different people on our podcast. It's just stress upon stress upon stress. And so there's not the conversation like, um, I love the job that I have. Absolutely love what I do. And it's full of purpose and passion, right? And I have autonomy to run my own schedule, which is so I can have a podcast during the middle of the day or whatever. Um, but the flip side, the choice that I make by working for a nonprofit that I believe in is I'm not looking most likely at a six-figure income from a nonprofit. But
mhm.
my work-life balance is awesome. The culture of the company is amazing. And I believe 100%, 110% in what we're doing. So, but everybody's taught to chase the dollar so much, they don't realize what they're trading off.
I, that's exactly what I was doing, is chasing the dollar. And you know, being a truck driver, you make good money. Don't get me wrong. You're gonna pull some crappy hours, especially if you do over the road where you're gone for 1 to 2 weeks at a time and not home, and then you're home for 2, 3, maybe 4 days. You don't really get your own schedule. So I mean, it's not for this realm isn't for everybody. Let's face it. But there is ways to steer your own life after the military. And that's what people need to realize. They need somebody to open a door up, be like, you got these options over here, or you can go do this over here. You want blue collar or your own schedule? What do you want to do? We don't have to be rich. You just have to be, you have to enjoy what you're doing. And there's so many veterans that come out and just, not just veterans, everybody. There's so many people that don't enjoy what they're doing. They're just doing it to chase the dollar. They're stuck in the rat race and just wait until they retire or die. And I mean, unfortunately, most people that in my family and her family that are in their 60s still working are probably a few years to be dead. And it's just like, what the fuck happened? And now I'm not even that far off. So that was my biggest thing with changing. And I hope I'm hoping to reach out to more with resources and stuff like that for veterans. And I'm hoping that they can see some of these and see that, hey, there is other opportunities. Start a year out from getting out of the military instead of waiting until like a lot the day of. Like, now what the fuck do I do? So it's part of my German, but I mean, just saying.
No
But
worries. So uh, I think our podcast, yours and mine, and maybe there's even a handful of others. Um, One of the goals that I think for Ed and I know is just to break down those information silos.
mm-hmm,
And one of the things that I wanted for the podcast, which Ed and I kind of agree and disagree as co-hosts often do. Um, I like the podcast being for everyone. Like we've had
mm-hmm.
generals, we've had outstanding people that have been on it, but I also want the everyday veteran who is kind of the leader in hiding, telling their story so that we can, because if we can normalize telling our stories, it helps us with how we interact with our families, how we interact with our communities, and hopefully help or help to normalize mental health and different things like that and seeing our world better.
Yeah, and the thing with the mental health, what I liked most is when I started mine. I was just kind of doing it to do it, just because Trey had mentioned, why don't we just try it? I didn't realize the amount of I guess treatment, I guess you'd say, for mental health I was getting from it. Like I actually would get off and feel like I would get a kind of a dopamine high from it. Like wow, like there are people, and like I said, interviewing anybody, yeah, like give everybody a voice. That's very important because you never know. You might find somebody. It's all part of networking, and you never know. I mean, it could be somebody that take or takes. I mean, makes everything happen for you or helps you. You never know. Just,
Yep.
I mean, but it's such a. I don't know. I've enjoyed this experience so far, and I thought my whole point of getting in that semi when I got out was because I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was like, I just leave me alone. Let me make my dollar. Be stuck in the rat race for the rest of my life, and let me die off. Um, because I'm still dealing with stuff mentally that I've done overseas. Not what I saw, it's what I did when I was deployed. And I didn't, I just trying to hide it. And now that I'm actually finding all these veterans in this community, it's just like the more voices, the better. The more people you can find, the more people that can talk. It doesn't matter who it is. And same thing with first responders too. At first, it was just veterans. Like, well, we can do first responders too. And I didn't realize how screwed up some of them were. It's like, God damn. So, but yeah, it's definitely a good mental health adjustment. Just talking to people versus going to the VA and talking to people. Honestly, somebody that has no experience in our realm. So,
Agreed. Is there anything else that, how do they get a hold of you? If they wanted to look up your podcast, where do they find it?
well, I have a funny name, but I don't know where I got this name from, but it stuck with me. You can go to swandingo.com or Google search Swandingo Files. I'm on every platform as Steven Swanson or Swandingo Files. I It's where the dango HO baby. So I don't know where
Uh,
that came from.
okay. When Ed puts it up on YouTube and stuff like that, he's really great about adding all the different nuances. So we'll get that squared away. But I want
Yeah.
to say thank you for your service. Thank you for your time today, and
No,
we
I want to thank you more because I've been stuck in a rut the past few weeks, and I was hesitant to even do this today because I've been kind of in a funk trying to get my brain transitioned out and away from the drinking and the fog and all that stuff. And you're actually the first one I've gotten back on with since I started getting sober and everything. So I think this really helped me more than anything today. Um, just uh, just kind of ramble a little bit and just have a little banter back and forth. So I think you helped me a lot today get back into a groove.
well, it was my
So
honor. So stay right there, but I'm going to go ahead and end. Thank you, everybody who tuned in, and definitely follow us if you like um, what we do.